You've built something real with your business partner, not just a business, but a legacy. What happens when life happens? Death, divorce, disability, disagreements, dissolution. These 5Ds don't just break companies, they break relationships. Because if you've got a business partner, you've got complexity. And if your corporate documents aren't rock solid, you might be setting your legacy on fire without even knowing it. Today, you're going to learn about how we can protect everything you've worked so hard to build before any of those 5D storms ever hit.
Welcome in. We're talking about the 5Ds here on Legacy Beyond Wealth with Rob Shelton, founder of Axio Wealth Management. They specialize in comprehensive wealth management tailored for successful families. And you hit this at the beginning, Rob. You said setting your legacy on fire. Pretty bold statement. I know that's one that'll get people's attention, but I'm guessing you've seen some examples of this in your 20 plus years of experience.
Yeah, it's crazy. We call it the 5Ds, and just to reflect again, that being divorce, death, disability, disagreement, and dissolution. A lot of times we get a great idea, we find some synergies with a business partner, and we just go start executing and building a business, which is great. But over time, just like in any relationship, there's trials that may arise, and that might be trials between partners themselves or just trials with unfortunate circumstances that may present themselves. And so as we talk about it, some of the things that, business owners should be concerned about is if their corporate documents don't address how divorce is handled, that could be a big issue. And I'll give you an example. If I had a business partner and he and his wife were going through a divorce, depending upon the state you live in and what laws that you're subject to, his wife could potentially become a 25% owner of the company because she gets 50% of his 50%. And now all of a sudden she's a business partner, and you would hate to have the business turn into a weaponized asset that continues to be fought over, especially if the divorce is not amicable and be tied up in litigation. And now you got a business partner, two different business partners that are warring and feuding all the time and not getting along. And that can be a big disruption to the business. Death is another one. We saw this happen with a client who had her husband passed away tragically. She was referred to us after the fact, and she was tied up in litigation with the other surviving business partner because he was giving a valuation on the company that seemed to be extremely low, as well as determining who gets what when. And what a tragedy to go through, to lose a spouse and then to all of a sudden have to try to figure out these things that should have been thought of ahead of time. And if you reverse the role, if you lose your business partner to an untimely death, can you imagine needing to be a business partner with a surviving spouse who may not understand the industry or business or any of those types of things? And so having those things thought up about with death is really important. And then we jump into disability. You kind of see the same thing, that if a business partner became disabled, we've seen where sometimes initially the good charity comes out and the partner that's not disabled will say, hey, it's okay. We'll keep working through things. But over time, there might be this hidden resentment that they're maybe not putting in the full effort they can because of their disability. And, do they still own voting shares and things of that nature, even though they're disabled? So very important. And then disagreements, number 4. As we look at disagreements, I don't know about you, Ben, but any relationship at some point in time usually has some kind of a disagreement.
Definitely.
If it's one that is impassable, that you just are so both tied into your own arguments, it can be tough to be able to settle. And it's important to know for a company's direction, how does that settle out? And I can't tell you how many different times we've seen business owners that feud with their business partner, and that has a ripple effect throughout the culture of the company. It can get to that point and that effect and really hamper the growth of the company. And last but not least is dissolution. Sometimes when partnerships don't work out, we need to go through maybe that business divorce, which we call dissolution, where we dissolve the partnership. And how that partnership is dissolved, it's nice to think of it ahead of time versus retroactive. And so when you think of these things, your corporate documents are kind of like a prenup agreement. As we look at, maybe getting married, we'd always recommend someone getting a prenup to kind of just outline how do things happen if things go south. And it's very important to make sure that we have that protection in place.
Yeah, those documents are so important. I know this is kind of probably something that most business owners are going to say, well, yeah, sure, it can happen, but it probably won't. But that's not the reality of the situation. Is these are not that uncommon at all. And for most people, it will be a reality that one of these Ds will affect their business. So I know that's why you want to talk about this today. And again, it goes back to what you always talk about in financial planning. The hope is not a strategy, right? It can get you in trouble if that's the way you're going about it.
Absolutely. And again, I think sometimes when we bring it up, people go, gosh, in fact, we're working with this 3 business partners, very successful business, very strong cash flow. I mean, building the company of their dreams. It's providing the ability to live their best life they possibly can. But there's these little bit of feuds that happen, and we keep telling them we need to get the corporate documents down. And we've been trying for 18 months, and just finally this last week, they've all sat down and started to look at it. And every time we talk with them over the last 18 months, it's, yeah, I know it's important, but, and they just kind of back burner it. And I'm grateful we were there every 90 days, just kind of giving a nice little nudge that we need to get this taken care of. And eventually it became a priority. And I'm excited that they're getting this taken care of finally.
Yeah, that's great. So if you are a business owner and you're watching this video, what's something you can be doing right now? Again, we talk about action steps. Rob, what are the action steps today?
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost, you got to dust off those corporate documents, locate them, look through them and see if they have any language about those 5 Ds that we've talked about. See if they speak to what happens during those different circumstances, what protections are in place, and would they hold up in a courtroom or a crisis. I'd even maybe go one step further and say set up a discovery meeting with us, because that's something we're going to take a look at. Not that we're attorneys, but we're going to look at it from a financial planning perspective, and if need be, bring on an attorney to be able to give those a review to see what gaps potentially exist. One of the hardest things about planning is what you don't know can really hurt you, right? What you don't know, you don't know. And so we want to make sure that at least you understand those corporate documents, how they'll function, and what planning needs need to be addressed if there is any gaps.
Are you ready to unlock the freedom to live your best life? Schedule your no-cost 60-minute discovery meeting with our team today. During this session, we'll take the time to understand your family's story and financial dreams. Together, we'll craft a personalized roadmap designed to help you achieve your goals. Let's explore how we can unlock the freedom for you and your family to thrive. Just click the link in the description of today's show to get started.
All right. Well, you can always, again, get in touch with Rob. It's been a while since you've updated any documents. Now is the time to get those out. Be looking through them. Sit down too with an attorney, also with a wealth advisor can help you walk through this process. I mean, this is kind of the role that you play, Rob. I mean, this is how you benefit your clients, especially all the business owners that you work with.
Absolutely. And when you have a growing company, a lot of times things are done on the fly. And what we're here to do is remind those business owners, hey, it's okay to be able to do that. We get it. You got to be able to create and grow your business. But there's times that we need to take back and focus on the essential things. There's this great thing called distraction. And the way we kind of define that is it will have you focus on good things and leave no time for the essential ones. And that's where we kind of come in, as we're kind of that reminder of the essential elements that you got to be taking a look at, especially if you got a business partner. These 5 Ds are pretty essential because at some point in the business, it's probably going to be utilized in one way or another.
You can even add distraction, maybe make that the 6th D, right?
And there you go. There you go. I like
But
it.
I know this whole discussion, though, gets back to just having that peace of mind and making sure that your legacy is protected, because I know business owners put so much time in. You experience this firsthand, Rob, at Axio Wealth. You're building this for a reason. There's a purpose to what you do, and you don't want to miss out on something because you weren't completely protected in the way that you thought you were. So make sure you address this if needed. And again, you can get in touch with Rob. He has a discovery call. It's available to you now, and it's 30 minutes, about an hour long. Talk through a lot of these concerns. If you're a business owner, you'll address some of these things. It's all about collaboration, which you'll learn as you go through that discovery call with Rob as well. So anything else you want to finish us off with here, Rob, before we close out today?
Yeah, just one little quick story. I met with a client not too long ago. We brought him on board and we kept talking about needing to get these documents in place. And he kept talking with his partner, and it just never became a priority for them. And unfortunately, they're at the point where litigation is now the only answer that's there. And it's really, really sad to see them going through that. And I would just suggest, save yourself the heartache. What do you work so hard for? What are you building the business for? If we don't have these protections in place, what you're building it for is really being put at risk. And, for myself, it's my family and a lot of our business owners, clients, it's their families as well. And we just want to make sure that the right protections are in place so you can succeed and thrive and live that best life with your family.
Well, if this conversation stirred up anything you at all, do not ignore it. Take the time now to pull out those documents, ask those hard questions, and have a conversation with someone like Rob at Axio Wealth Management that can help you walk you through this and make sure all your concerns are addressed. Rob, thanks for your time as always, and thank you for watching Legacy Beyond Wealth. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We'll have a new video coming soon. We'll talk to you then.